Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all fighting fit and staying at home. I am Swati Agarwal from Team Lee Skills University, and I welcome you all today to our webinar for Oracle GRC. Just a small introduction about Team Lee Skills University, wherein this department ELS Enterprise Learning Services. This department is wherein we serve our customers, our clients, individuals with their training needs. It can be IT, non-IT, or soft skills. And today we are conducting this webinar for Oracle GRC with our speaker Balaji, who has experience of over 31 years, and he has been associated with Team Leads for quite a while now. I think from here, Balaji, you can start the session.
Thank you, Swati. Good evening and welcome all to this webinar on GRC. Let me first share the screen so that you're all able to see the presentation. So let's start by the letters GRC. What does it mean? Before that, a small introduction about myself. Like Swati said, I've been in the industry for quite a long, starting with my career on financials and MIS and procurement departments at big corporates. Then moved into IT since 1996, and then started my Oracle applications as early as 1997 with 10.6, which is a very basic character version. From that, Oracle applications has seen a lot of changes, and since 2008 have been associated with the GRC because Oracle started its GRC somewhere in 2007. That's because in 2004, 2 to 4, if you remember, there were a lot of fiascos about Lehman Brothers and few Enron before that going off, and the US government had put the Threadway Bill Commission, and they came out with the COSO framework, COSO, and later on COVID framework also came. So GRC definitely was a must of those days in 2006-7. That is where Oracle started bringing GRC into its applications. We can discuss about what Oracle GRC has, with very specifically with respect to Oracle applications, as well as how custom applications also can be integrated to GRC. Before that, I just wanted to tell you that I have been in assignments where we had built custom modules for financials, procurement, and for Oracle EBC, as well as few connectors to Oracle GRC. Then personally, I have sat and built the Oracle repository rules for the GRC, Oracle GRC part. And we have also built few alerts for the audit purpose, basically for the internal auditors and the external auditors, where some small modifications can be done, and you can run those queries online as well as by way of reports, on the fly, instead of depending upon the key users for the reports or information. So let's get into the whole day session. It's about 45 minutes to 1 hour, and then we'll be followed. We'll give some time for Q&A. How we are going to organize the whole thing is, first let's understand the GRC solutions from Oracle. Basically, we'll talk about GRC for a minute or two, and then get into the Oracle solution. What Oracle has the offering. Basically, Oracle has an offering onto the GRC as two parts. One is the GRC manager, and the other part is the GRC controls, which is called continuous controls or advanced controls. The advanced controls basically has four parts in it. Application access control, we call this AACG. Similar applications in SAP and IBM also has very similar divisions. All over it's called as access controls. The second part is the transactions controls. Sorry, let me go to the first part. The access controls basically, will tell you who has undue access. for example, here in GRC, we will be talking about or we'll be discussing about what people should not have, what people should not do, what people should not see. Basically, should not, do not. Basically, in audit, what do? We try and find the deviations, non-compliances, not to do. See these ones. These are the ones basically we'll be attacking in the GRC framework. Likewise, in the transactions, what people are not supposed to do on a transaction. If they have done something, then we try to unearth that. Then preventive controls, basically you preempt. These are the things that people could do, and based on the past experiences of the non-compliance and the deviations and frauds of the past user actions, then we bring preventive controls where such frauds or such deviations or such non-compliances cannot happen even by mistake or by oversight. We try to prevent that. Then the fourth part is the configurations control. You all know that every application has its own setup, module by module or business process by business process. In case if there are setups to be controlled and should be monitored, we completely monitor the setups by the configurations control. So for our easiness, we will call this as ACG, TCG, PCG, and CCG throughout our sessions. And everywhere we will be discussing a few examples or live cases where we have gone through with the clients on the implementation support or troubleshooting or GRC audit or the general audits. So end of it, you can note down in case if you have any questions, clarifications, or you want further details, then we will be able to answer the questions or clarifications at the end. So if you see, since 2007, Oracle was one of the first application vendors to bring up the GRC with IBM. Then only later on all the other frameworks came. If you take really the why should companies have GRC? What does this GRC means? Governance, risk, and compliances. What I have found generally is people get confused between what is governance and what is compliance. Risk, okay, everybody knows. You have deviation on the governance, non-compliance on the governance or the compliance, then obviously the company is in risk. So R part is understood. What is G? What is C? Everybody understands governance is with respect to do with the government policies, state and central policies, industry policies, and those things. No, actually, it is all compliance. So what we think in our general parlance is actually compliance. When we say governance in GRC framework, we mean the company's policies. We have a board of directors, and there are set of policies by the company followed generally and with respect to each and every business process. For example, what is the HR processes and what are the policies in that? These policies are deviated. For example, payables, with a set of policies with respect to payables, a set of policies with respect to receivables, set of policies with respect to asset and asset tracking, set of policies with respect to inventory. Basically, when we say inventory, configuration of the inventory organization, sub inventory to the level of row rack bin, as well as to the level of receiving and issuing, and in the end stock taking. So what are the policies of the company? So what we do is in the governance, we take the policies of the company and then we configure it in the system. The four parts: AACG, TCG, CCG, or PCG. Now, why at all somebody would need GRC? For these reasons. Basically, to find out the financial leakages. When I say financial leakages, it could be a revenue leakage or an expenses leakage or an asset leakage or an overstatement of a liability. So when it comes to improvement of cash flows, definitely, for example, see where discounts are there and you have money in hand, you could have paid and you could have taken the discount. So it's a negative flow that you have missed to take the revenue into your company in the financial leakage. But when it comes to cash flows, basically these are the direct impact on the cash flows which will happen if you deviate a certain compliances or governances. Probably, let's say in a banking industry, you need to keep on daily balances with Reserve Bank of India certain percentage. Is the bank keeping its percentage from region to region with the RBI for that? So it could be as big as that, or it could be as simple as a you are not supposed to pay anything less than 3 days payment terms. Somebody has paid it with the immediate payment term, so it means there is a cash flow problem which is going to happen, or basically somebody is using the cash which is available for immediate payment, which is supposed to happen after 3 days or 5 days, something like that. Based on the company's policies, we'll be able to pinpoint to which advantage we would take the risk to. For example, unsent invoices on time. Here, some of the examples I have given here is, when I said unsent invoices, it's on the receivable side. You have generated the invoice, you're supposed to send it to the customer. Let's say you're sending it after a week. Obviously, your payment is going to get delayed by a week. It means there is a fund flow, you're affecting the fund flow here. The other example, for example, I'll tell you is you have a policy of goods received based on the promise to date on a purchase order. You have said, let's say August 17th, and you have given a grace days of 2 days. So it means you're supposed to receive on 17th or maximum 18th. Suppose you receive it on 20th, then you have given a 10% tolerance on the system. System would accept it. You will never come to know that a 2 days tolerance has been violated and has been brought to a 5 days or a 6 days, and probably production would have got delayed, or dispatch would have got delayed because of the incoming materials delay and all those. These are some of the examples that you can really bring. See, I'm talking with respect to right from manufacturing to financials, general ledger accounting. You will be able to put the GRC policies and start controlling them, and wherever required, you can prevent such occurrences of those deviations. Now, what we have done is we have created a huge repository on each area: access controls, transactions control, configurations control, and preventive controls. In preventive controls, we have basically 4 controls. So, what we have done is we have created a library of so many rules in each of the area. For example, let's say in a procure to pay cycle, let me take payables. When we take payables, we talk about supplier management, supplier performance, then invoice processing, matching of invoice. Like this, we have divided area by area by area. Then we have brought out a lot of rules. So what we do is, when we walk in into any client place, we give them like a hotel menu. Look, these are the rules that you can see. We'll give them a list of long set of rules. And in case if they can't understand, we'll just do a 1 or 2 days education to them. They can come back saying that out of this whole list, what is that they want. So for us, because we have created these rules as a repository within team leagues, so we take these rules immediately and start configuring. So if you ask me, right from finalization of the rules with the company, how long will it take for you to go for an UAT? UAT. See, here we don't do CRP and CRP2 and all. Straight away after the rules are finalized with the company, policies which have to be brought into GRC audit points, then we straight away talk about when is the UAT. Um, Let me do one thing. I will give this guess, in the question and answer session. Maybe some of you can guess like how many months it would take for us to go live. Let's say with something like about some 200 policies or rules. How long will it take for you to go live? That is a question. We'll put like that, and we'll halt it. We'll see how people respond. During the question answer, I will tell you how quickly we can go live with GRC. GRC has come in all these languages, but what we concentrate is on English. Basically, if you see the GRC, it's a separate server. It doesn't sit with your Oracle EBIS or your custom applications or any other ERPs. It's a separate set of hardware that is linked online with your systems. If it is R12, already the links are established. If it is not Oracle R12, then we need to establish those links. So these are the four components which I was telling you, which will get connected as a box to the Oracle environment or any other ERP environment or custom applications environment. Now these are four controls. For example, this is what we are saying. Access controls are nothing but somebody who has access A should not have access B. When I say access A, example I'll give you. Somebody who has entry of supplier, can he have entry of invoices? He should not. Can he have entry of payments? He should not. So what we do is we try and ensure that what not is brought under the accesses. That is, if a person has an access A, what he should not have parallel to that. Likewise, we will go from A to Z list based on the segregation of duties and role-based access control. Because we have been doing this for years and years and years, the moment we see your Excel sheet, if you tell us today the person has an access to all this, we will be able to tell you what are all the points of conflicts. Basically, if I say a person who has access to entry of supplier and supplier site uh, should not have access to invoice processing. So we look out for such anti elements, that is anti access to the original access, and then bring out all those deviations initially in the Excel sheet itself, so that we put them as rules in access controls. Likewise, the configurations control, I was saying that see, once the setup is made and you go live and you are operational and everything is going smooth, nobody is supposed to change any setup. But is it possible for you to carry on with that for days and weeks and months and years? No, no. Definitely there will be changes that are required by the business for configurations. Those are all genuine changes. Even those genuine changes will be tracked and brought to our notice in CCG, and during that part, in case somebody goes and changes unauthorized or by mistake or knowingly or to commit fraud, then we get notified immediately within let us say 5 to 7 seconds, and then action can be taken immediately. I have live cases where people have gone and tried to change the supplier bank account with some account which they are not supposed to. Then see what happens is a configurations control deviation can bring a question mark into access control also. So that is why we are saying this. These are all completely nested together. You have to see the AACG, CCG, TCG, PCG as a nest together. So one can call for the other, or one can be on its own. So likewise, transaction control, for example, somebody is not authorized to process debit notes. By chance, he has access. Now there is a violation of the access control. He performs the transaction. Then we get notified saying that, look, so and so has performed the debit transaction. Do you want to control? Then you take the action. Probably, a financial controller, yes, he has, but a financial assistant should not have. Something like that. Preventive controls is the absolute control, where you don't allow the user to go and make those changes or those transactions or those parts of the transactions. So preventive control is the ultimate. So if you take the lessons from the access control, configurations control and transactions control deviations, then you, let us say you discuss with your audit team and the systems team, security team, and if the company wants to prevent it in the future, then in the preventive controls we have four controls under it. So we will use one of the controls to control the action in future completely. This can be done for a group of people or a set of applications or for a particular user or for a particular department. We'll be able to configure that way. So this is what I was saying. Examples. We were talking about few examples. Here are some of the examples. And I'm just pausing for all of you to have a look at this. Okay, let me proceed. So basically, applications control governor, we talk about the accesses, and during that we will be taking the segregation of duty and RBAC role-based access controls, to configure the rules for the access controls. Then once it is deployed, then we will be able to start controlling the accesses, undue accesses in the existing system, and when people join or when people get transferred from one department to another department, when they get access to new functional areas, are they going to have conflicts, either intra role or inter role? With respect to transaction control, see, in the access control, it's purely your menus and your accesses. In transaction control, we get into the depthness of the transactions. When I say transactions in inventory, we say inventory item definition, receiving inventory, issuing inventory, adjustment of inventory, write off of inventory, all these. When it comes to payables, creating supplier side, supplier bank accounts. When you create transactions, we talk about invoices, debit memos, credit memos, advance payments, and all those application of those to the payments in the payment management. We get into the exact transactions and start finding out what are the risks that the company has those in those places. See, for example, I'll tell you, somebody has changed undue access, and in the purchase order there is a 21 days payment term, and we find that the invoice has been paid on the 17th day. So there is a deviation here. This will come out in a transaction controller. Now this will call for who did this. Maybe the person had genuinely access and he did it by mistake, or genuinely there was a request from the supplier and the company decided to entertain that. So in that case, you say the deviation has been agreed. We'll go on with the deviation. In the first case, we say no, the deviation is supposed to be arrested. You cut the access of the person who has changed the payment terms on an invoice and gone ahead and paid. So such things we have seen in happening in custom applications and in ERP environment, where the supplier and the department people are hand in hand, and likewise in many other places, in inventory receiving, in fixed assets tracking, we have seen in many places. In transaction control, we have the second type of transactions control as pattern based. Based on the patterns, we will be able to simulate what is going to come in the future, or what has happened where abnormal patterns, suddenly there is a spike in the payments. Why? Suddenly there is a flattening on the supplier entries. Why? Recently, last week, I had a place in a case in the EBIS in Middle East, where the supplier registration, it's not because of Corona. Generally, discounting this Corona, time, it has flattened out since January. Okay, January, February was not Corona days, but it has terribly flattened out since December end. Then, investigation was made, and they had a genuine process problem. So we have recommended, yesterday there was a recommendation which has gone saying that the procurement director and the quality director and the finance director needs to sit and look at this procedure, where the supplier registration and awarding to suppliers are getting affected because of the process problems. What I'm trying to tell is, pattern based also can be used to specifically bring the like a sea wave going up and down, or undue patterns. You will be able to unearth them. Configurations control, basically, if anybody changes the setups, then we get notified. We do something called snapshots on regular intervals. For example, before every month closing, during every month closing, after every month closing, or before applying a patch, after applying the patch, we do comparison of snaps to know what has got changed. See, what happens is, in Oracle, if you're in, I'm sure anybody in Oracle R12 environment or R11 environment, you will realize that before an application of a patch and after the application of a patch, let's say even a family pack, then what should not be changed? Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has to get changed, but you will find that 7, 8, 9, 10 also has got changed. So those ones, snapshots will definitely let us know even before trying the transactions. We compare it and then only allow the system to be released to users after the patch. Preventive controls, basically we have 4 preventive controls. We can do it on the form. One of the preventive controls is based on the form. Who has logged in into the form? Do you want to make preventive controls of that person on that particular field, block, or canvas, or the entire form, or in the next tab based on the business process? This can be done user specific, group specific, application specific. I'm talking about forms control and flow control. Then we have the third part called audit control and change control. Change control, basically any changes to the setups like CCG, very similar to CCG. Change control. Here what we do is, let's say we have payment terms. Let's say we have something like 5 payment terms. We will allow people to put the 6th payment term based on the access control, but they cannot go and change any of the 5 payment controls. CCG will not prevent you, but this preventive control governor, we can prevent the existing records to be in its place. Simultaneously, we can allow people to go and put new records even in a setup. To that level, we will be able to minutely configure the preventive controls. Basically, 4 parts: form controls for every form, every tab, every field. We'll be able to bring up controls. Flow control is basically the business process flow on the form. See, you know that every Oracle form or SAP form or custom application form has a business process into that form, basically business events. So those can be, controlled and prevented for certain set of people on certain parameters. See, you all know that there is a COSO framework which has come, since 2004. It's gone, into every government's mind, and people in Europe and USA, Australia, they are very, very cautious about this COSO framework. Basically, the 5 pillars has this 16 internal controls, internal controls in it. Every government, much of the major governments, what I have seen is in Canada, US, UK, Germany, France, Australia, Singapore. I've dealt with these people. They all very strictly try to follow the COSO framework, and COSO keeps updating its site, and it's very informative. So just whenever you have time, probably you can go into the COSO site and start looking. And we rely, we take the guidelines given by COSO framework for our, repository of the policies and rules for those 4 control governors. Basically, we focus on this: controlling the environment, then the controlling the activities on the environment, then risk assessment in case if there is deviation on the environment and the activities, then how to inform and communicate to what all set of people, let's say through mail or through SMS or whatever. Then the monitoring is just, we will not let people know what we are doing. From the audit department, we just keep like a spy behind and just monitor, because we monitoring days after days after days, nothing would have happened. Suddenly something happens, so that can spark something, and then immediately we can go and start putting controls over that. These are basically 5 areas that we try to focus on in our rules. Now, all these are, it's not one off. It is continuous. It's throughout the day, throughout the transactions. And whenever there is a deviation, either it can be alerted to your notification summary or to your email box or your, SMS or your WhatsApp. And you can take those as reports also. Some of the reports here are based on these ones. Let me go here and the slide. I'll show you what are all the reports which are available for each of those areas. The result management in an AACG would be like this. The incident has happened. How do you want to remediate the incident, and what precautions you need to take? Then we go through step by step by step. Okay. Now the incident has been agreed, saying that it is a genuine incident, then we need access approval by the senior manager or controller. Then those deviations will be approved. So it's a process. It's a set of process we take by viewing the incidences online in the screen or through reports or through visualizations and simulations. I'll just show you in access controls, how a visualization would look like. Basically, who are all the customers for this governance, risk and compliances? These teams would be the end users or customers for them. If any one of you are in this group, definitely you should look at looking at GRC seriously for your organization. Let's quickly take a deep dive into the AACG. This is how a visualization of the deviation would happen. If you see here, this responsibility has these two functions which are conflicting, and it is coming up through these menus. If you see, now what I need to do is, if this should not be there, then what is the remediation that I should do? This is how it goes. So basically, let's say somebody who has access to supplier has access to payment processing. Imagine these two are the last end functions. Then it is coming through these menus and sub menus, and that is how it is. So I will know exactly from this graphics where to go and correct this. Suppose I cut it here, then finish. It gets cut, or I will be able to do it. It will start by user, by responsibility, by menus, by submenus, and the end two functions A and B, which should not be together. So that is all about the AACG. Now, when we implement AACG or any of the modules, we take this approach. I have put an example of AACG approach, how we do. One question, like one food for thought I put is, the client finalizes the set of rules in about 2 weeks' time from the day we walk in. From there, how long would it take for us to get ready for the UAT? So we will go through all this to get ready for the UAT. Basically, the enforcement on an access deviations. I'm talking about access deviations. Could be one of this. Just monitor. No message sent anywhere. Only the system security people monitor. The second one is prevent. Prevent means completely prevent. No questions asked. The company policy is, for example, somebody who has access to making purchase orders should not be able to put suppliers. Finish. There is no question of deviation in that. The last part is, okay, somebody has, let's say 2%, let's say 2 buyers has a deviation, then you approve them. So you can set each of this for every rule. This is how you would get a message into your mailbox. Now, this same thing can be brought to your WhatsApp group also. Basically, an access deviation. These are some of the reports in the access control deviations. Some interesting reports are here, like access violation by user report is something very important. In fact, we should be doing this on a monthly basis before closing the month, so that let's say, for example, my name is Balaji. I come in this report. I have these undue accesses. Then immediately what you should do is look at the transactions governor and then find out if Balaji has generated any transactions because of this undue access. Then immediately you can try and remove the undue access. So it's not only AACG. You will have to think beyond AACG, beyond TCG. In case when you're doing TCG, in case you're doing preventive controls, you should think all together and say how you need to prevent it. Reports can be put in an Excel and then analyzed it later. Excel is an excellent tool for you to analyze. You'll be able to import all the reports directly into Excel and then analyze. Transactions control, as I said, it's either control based on the filtering and then going and finding based on the filters what is deviated. Second part is based on the patterns. Some of the filters here, examples I've given here. You will be able to define. When I say filter, it's not one level of filter. You will give broad level of filters on top, then you will go narrow the filters so that exactly pinpoint you will be able to tell. See, for example, a set of suppliers and a set of inventory. For those, what are the purchase orders processed, and in a blanket purchase order, how many is pending for that set of inventory items. For example, normally in a year end, you will say in a BPA, anything more than 90% threshold reached in a BPA, you want to control them. Then these sort of filters you go and give in a transactions control. So a transactions control report would look like this. Basically, this is what we are saying, heat map. When we say a list, a big repository of all the rules by each area we give, then see, for example, for some a company A, one would be red. For another company, that same item could be orange, but definitely it won't be green. But for some company which is green, could be a red for another company. So basically, we do a heat mapping of the repositories based on the companies, and then we start configuring the red and orange items first, and then take on to the yellow and green data. Configurations controller, basically the setups. This is with respect to Oracle application setup. Anything which is going, deviating in the setup, we'll be able to capture it online immediately within 5 to 7 seconds, alerted to the system security person, and the person will be able to take action. And if your question is, can I go and integrate a non-Oracle applications? Yes, there are tools we'll be able to integrate non-Oracle applications into it. But the applications, CCG will be coming from Oracle. Basically on the setups. Setups change, yeah, it could change because of internal reasons and external reasons. Definitely we should be geared for that. And the third part of setup is undue changes by the users. So we can't take it light. So every setup change, we do investigations. So basically in CCG, we call it a snapshots, comparison, and change tracking. Change tracking is nothing but a spy put on every business process. The moment somebody is trying to do something which they are not supposed to do in a business process, the system security guy is alerted immediately on his mobile or into his notification summary within 5 to 7 seconds, and then the person is caught. Here we say who, what, where, when. See, here we say that we are doing change tracking, spy on a business process. Then definitely we need to prove, saying that you have done at this time, and in this instance, in this organization, with this login ID, all this are captured. And this is how it comes in the alert, in the change tracker alert. So here is a proof for HR to take action on the person. So basically what we do in a preventive control is, basically it's a 3-part. Detective controls, we don't prevent, we do as a spy. But in case if you have to, go to the next level of controls, then we prevent those actions. Then corrective is something which has happened. Then what are the things to be corrected? We discuss about that and do. Preventive controls, I said like 4 things are there. We can do preventive on forms, preventive based on the flow rules, that is on each form or a set of form. When I say procure to pay, I can take purchasing separately, right from creation of a purchase requisition, PREX, to releasing of a BPA. So that could be a flow within a major flow. So we will be able to make rules for a particular flow or a set of flow, or only that part of the business process or business event in a flow. To that micro level, we'll be able to make rules there. When I say rules, the rules could be like these three, one of these three rules. This is how it will look. Just one word of caution, the PCG, Preventive Controls Governor, very specifically will work with only Oracle applications. If you have non-Oracle applications, you cannot implement PCG. Oracle has come out with the latest, compatibility matrix for the hardware and networking and requirements. Some 3-4 days back, I think 21st July. Yeah, 21st July they have come. If you already have a CSA and Oracle support login, you can download this document and then read this in case if you're planning to look at GRC for your office, or in case you are already running on a GRC, you can take this matrix and see if Oracle recommended certifications are followed in your implementation or not. So here I will leave it to Swati for moderating the question answers. I'm just stopping the share so that I will be able to listen to the questions, and in case any specific questions which can be answered or clarifications given, I'll give it here. In case if something cannot be done here, or if you have some questions later on, definitely you can get back to team leads. We'll be happy to answer your clarifications. So over to you, Swati.
So, if anybody has a question, please you can unmute yourself and ask.
Swati, one small thing I want to add to all the participants. See, we are talking about what Oracle GRC or GRC can do. Now, the whole thing, like what Swati was saying, is team leads, conducts sessions for the Oracle GRC on all the four fronts: the access controls, the preventive controls, configurations control, and transactions control. It's a 4 days session from morning 9 to 5, and we'll be happy to share the course content and all the other things if you are interested to attend those trainings.
Sure, sure, we will do so. Also, to the participants, we will be sharing the recording with you. So I think there are no questions because nobody has asked any question. So I think we can conclude the session, Balaji.
Okay, Swati, you are the moderator. You can go ahead and close, and probably you can give your mail ID to these people so that in case
Sure,
in
sure.
future if they have question, they can any questions or information that they would want to on the training front or to know more about the GRC. Definitely, they can contact you.
Definitely, we will be sending the recording, the PPT, and the links for connecting with us over mails to them.
Okay. Put
Thank
the
you,
task
everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for joining us today for this webinar. Thank you, Balaji, for giving your time. Thank
Yeah.
you, everybody. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, and happy weekend to all of you. Bye bye.
Thank you.